I was deeply unsettled by something in my apartment. At first, I could not explain why. I live alone in a small apartment on the third floor of an old building. It is nothing special, but I can call it my home at least. The only thing that ever bothered me was the front door of my apartment. It had a peephole, but it had been painted over before I moved in. I always meant to scrape the paint off, but out of sheer laziness, I never did that. One night, I was lying in bed on my phone when I heard a knock at the door. There were 2 knocks, and then there was all silence. I was not expecting anyone. I got up and walked to the door. I asked, "Who is it?" There was no answer. I tried to look through the peephole, but suddenly recalled it was painted over. Something out of pure instinct told me not to open the door. Then the knocking came again. This time, there were 2 deliberate knocks. I pressed my ear against the door. There were no footsteps, no breathing. In fact, there was nothing. I went back to bed, but I could barely sleep. The next morning, the hallway was empty. None of my neighbors had heard anything. It happened again the next night, and the night after that. By the 4th night, I was way too apprehended. At exactly midnight, the knocks came again. I grabbed a screwdriver and scraped the paint off the peephole. My hands were shaking as I looked through it. A tall, thin man stood directly in front of my door. He wore a black suit, but his face was pale and expressionless. What's worse, he had no eyes, only smooth skin where they should have been. I stumbled back as the doorknob began to turn. It turned wildly, then it stopped out of nowhere. When I looked again, he was gone. Next morning, my landlord admitted others had complained before. Then he said something worse. "You're actually the first one who is still alive." I felt goosebumps all over my body. I moved out that day, but sometimes late at night, I still hear it. 2 knocks, then silence.